모든 건 변했다. 히트 시즌 2.
Doesn't, and then a good player will harass him and come back. Bunny, this guy's a great player. He's got a lot of finesse. I think this is going to be a pretty tough matchup with a lot of battles going on all over the place.
Yeah, Bunny, a younger player. He hasn't had all that many games in the booth. You can see he's played 23 there in total. He's 0-3 against Trap, and so far he's only 3-7 for this year of Pro League. So, not the best record in the world.
Well, looking at these, I thought it was going to be closer, but looking at those numbers there, maybe Trap will win this, and we'll just have to go to the ace match.
I mean, I feel like that's definitely the most likely scenario, and so does everybody else think the same way.
Yeah, I actually thought this was going to be a bit more of a split vote. I thought we were going to have like GTR vote for Bunny for some reason.
Because GTR would do that, you know.
GTR is always ahead of me, and I always disagree with his predictions. Then I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, I got wrong again. I don't know why I got the lowest results here for predictions. Anyways, guys, the game is ready. This is Trap versus Bunny in tonight's Pro League 2016. Uh-oh, I timed out the outro wrong. 8 years of casting. 8 years of casting, I still can't do this. The game's gonna start. In the upper right, in the green, it's Trap. And in the bottom right, in the yellow, we have Bunny. Bunny's actually one of those IDs that you kind of see over and over again. There's Bunny, Hero, and Rain.
There was Liquid Bunny, right? There was another Bunny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're correct.
Oh, we got another couple down here.
It's the ideal date.
He has a ring. Is that a couple ring?
He's taken. He is taken, Valdez.
Taken man.
Now,
I see them. They're still hiding their faces. They're not even on camera. I'm like, what? Guys, it's okay.
See, if I was a producer, I'd just keep zooming in. Like,
yeah.
So,
you get that sometimes at the GSL where you have like those 30-second camera shots.
Oh yeah, what's the deal with that?
Zoom in and like,
sometimes we just got to make jokes about that. Where I'm
start
like,
talking
right,
to them like, hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah,
yeah,
we get it. That's what he looks like. Okay, so let's see what Trap's going to do here. Trap has actually had a lot of proxies in his games. I mean, any good Protoss player has to proxy. Maybe not Rain. I guess he did that maybe 5% of the time or something like that, something pretty low. But most Protoss players, Protoss is kind of a funny race. If you do the exact same thing every time against the same player, and they start to get to know you, you start to lose. I mean, Protoss is interesting because it's a little bit like a poker in the sense that you got to bluff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know. And he does get this probe over here for the scout. Did go to the top left and then the bottom right, so he really wants to know whether or not he's cross spawns or if he's nearby. Suppose he could have figured it out by going to the bottom left anyway, but wants to do it this way. Maybe something tipped him off that the Terran was in the bottom right.
Let's see. I'm wondering, man. Does Trap do this this basic style that we've seen? Now, keep in mind, Bunny is not doing like a 1-1-1 here. Or anything like that, but I am curious to see.
This is interesting.
Okay,
this is different.
Yeah, this is like a Terran style. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't know if my opinion really matters because I'm not winning tournaments and I'm casting this. But you know, the 3 racks kind of this like muscle Terran play. Sometimes you kind of push out with the Marines and put a little bit of pressure.
You have more units than the Protoss is expecting. You know?
Yeah, and sometimes Protoss can be caught off guard. I mean, it's kind of a tricky thing for Protoss, right? Because Protoss, since in Legacy of the Void, I mean, they've really been able to get that third base up. And they're able to cut a lot of corners with it. And they're able to do that in a lot of different ways, which is one thing that Protoss has going for them, right? I'm not saying one is better than the other because I think there's a lot of different ways that you can exploit the races in this game, but so, I mean, some Terrans have tried putting a little bit of pressure on to occasionally see if they can, you know, tip over the Protoss who's kind of doing too many things at once. Might be a little bit too top-heavy in tech. But Trap is not doing that. Trap is going for, like we were casting earlier today in the game that Maro won. This is like this very basic style. You have enough gates, you tech up, now you get a robo. Now what's interesting about this specific play is he doesn't get an observer first.
Yeah, and he doesn't get a Twilight Council either. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point as well. Yeah,
sticking on this tech for now. Okay, there's the Twilight Council. And Bunny, what I was expecting him with when I saw that second barracks, what I expected him to do was the 2 racks with the earlier stim and the double medevac drop with the 16 Marines, which became very popular. Beyond did a lot in SSL against every race. But instead, as you were saying, it's just like a straight up muscle build. You're going to have a ton of stuff. You're going to have both stim and combat shields and only Marines. And you're just going to try to roll over the Protoss with +1 too.
Now he's going to go for some Stalker harass here. And this is kind of a cool little strat. You try to shave off units here or there. He may try to do some pressure here at the front as well. You know, when you get a Warp Prism, you always got to count on, you know, the fact that there's going to be some abuse about just the fact that there's a ramp here. Now, I guess this actually just works. Excuse me. This is not going to be a harass. It seems like he's comfortable enough just kind of pushing in here.
That's way too many Marines.
Well, let's see. The Stalkers can kite him pretty well, right? Stim's not quite done yet. Now, when Stim's done, that's when you really got to be careful. But he is kind of shaving off. Got to be careful. He is kind of shaving off some of these Marines, and it's kind of before Stim is done. This is really interesting.
I'm surprised that he's freaking out this much and pulling all the SCVs too.
Well, it's kind of funny, right? Like, he can kind of shave that number down, and then I guess there's less to defend between the main and the natural. I would have thought, okay, now he triggered a Stim. Now keep in mind, without medevacs being out here, and you do get medevacs later here, we see the factories kind of coming along. If you can get them to Stim a couple times, they have like a paper mache army.
Yeah.
They've not healed up.
One Stalker shot and a Marine dies.
Especially like in really intense matches, you sometimes see Terrans over Stim too.
Yeah.
So
the zombie army.
Yeah.
Nearly dead.
Yeah. And he's going to drop here. Now note, he should split. I don't think you want to send these two in at the same time.
And there is a turret here, by the way.
Now we don't. I guess this is becoming more and more common here in Legacy, but the fact that you can kind of treat DTs like they're adepts and just kind of attack stuff. But this is pretty cool. I mean, look, he just took out the reactor. Trap's kind of on top of Bunny here. And he's trying to bait out the scans, but misplaced with a Warp Prism there. Oh, he's actually going to... No, okay, he's not going to get it.
Very close. I'm surprised that he hasn't taken that out earlier, especially with how aggressive Trap is being with this Warp Prism.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny, Valdez, because Trap's making this look pretty easy, but it's really not. But at the same time, Bunny has done a decent job of holding this. I'm really curious about that push we saw there on the front. That's a kind of cool way to handle the fact that the upgrades are a little bit later. Is it because, you know, normally when you think of just Stalker versus Marine, you just kind of assume the Stalker loses to the Marine because the Marine has Stim and Medevac. But if you're late on Stim and Medevacs, you can actually do so much damage with Stalkers versus Marines. It's almost hilarious.
Yeah, and as you were saying, just kite them forever, basically.
Yeah, they're just
as long as your
outrange
micro is
them.
good enough.
Yeah.
And with that small amount of pressure, Trap has been able to secure a third base. He's adding all of those gateways, and he still has the threat of this Warp Prism out on the map, so it's really annoying here for Bunny to deal with.
It's kind of crazy how much Trap is able to harass with that Warp Prism, because it's risky business, man. If you lose that Warp Prism, it's really problematic. Protoss always want to keep their robo units alive. They're actually much more prioritized than a lot of the other units in the game, because you can't like warp in a bunch of Immortals or Observers. When you lose one, you got to make it out of this building. It's got to, you know, slowly come out. Here, by the way, comes Bunny coming in here and massacring about 10 probes. And it looks like he's going to do a pickup, and yeah, miscontrolled there. Wasn't able to get the rest of them out. And this should be stuck up here now.
Kind of an awkward spot. At least he'll keep the units there, but that's about it.
He can just he can kind of use this to follow the medevac around and kind of see where it's coming. Now the next drop is coming up here, and this is going to be in a pretty good location. It's going to be in the natural, it looks like so far. And here it comes now.
And he should expect this. He already has a cannon and 3 pylons, as well as his units in position, so he will be able to clean this up.
Yeah, Bunny, not with the best control here for some of these drops. He does manage to get that out. He was having a little bit of a hard time picking up and unloading back there. So the observer comes over here. Now you got to be careful when you're Terran, because this is a point in time in the game where sometimes Terrans are dropping everywhere and they're losing their stuff, and then they lose the game eventually. As Protoss just has better defense.
Yeah, you don't want to overdrop. You see some players doing that occasionally, and yeah, I mean now he's got Liberators out. He can definitely begin to harass like that. I think Trap does have his pylons in position to deal with that, at the natural at least.
Okay, so he's going to try to poke in over here. Overall, Trap just with really good defense. I got to say, Bunny's drops are not terrible either. I think this game could really go either way. But yeah, as you were saying, he does have Liberators. So what he's trying to do, this drop is only to relocate the Protoss army. He wants Stalkers to chase him somewhere. Oh, nice blink in here. Takes out one Liberator. That's going to put Bunny on his back foot.
Yeah, kind of interesting that he just... This is the, wow. You know, Bunny's really having trouble with this, where he's essentially he's on autopilot.
He's feeding a little bit too much here.
Yeah, he's feeding. You know, he gives away a free Liberator here or there. His medevac control isn't on, so he doesn't get all of his units out to safety. And the drops, I have to say, he got that one attack at the third base, which did a really nice amount of damage. But outside of that, they really have not been too effective here.
Okay, it's time for Protoss to start counterattacking here. Is this an overextension? No, he's got to get that Liberation field set up. SCD's coming from behind. A blink on top, trying to target down that Liberator, and he does! But the Terran reinforcements are coming in here. And let me tell you something, man. These Immortals are going to be targeted down. This may have been a big mistake for Trap. I don't know. Let's see, can he continue to do the targeting, though? If he gets rid of the Immortals, this is a pretty thin-skinned army here for Trap.
He's going to be able to clean it all up, and with this many Marauders, very, very fast, he can absolutely get on top of this army. Nice micro there with the Immortal. But Bunny, I have to say, definitely a good trade for him.
Yeah, well, you know, it was a bit strange, right? I was talking about this early on before we started the game, that Trap is generally a more conservative player, and I'm kind of disappointed to see that he wasn't doing a bit more of that in this game, because it's 3-base versus 3-base, right? You don't, excuse me, you don't technically have anything, at least at this phase of the game, that magically is going to allow you to win that fight. Like, yes, you took out some medevacs, yes, you killed the Liberator, but it's not so much that, you know, if you're neck and neck, you're going to just be able to run over the Terran. So I don't think that was a good period in time to attack here.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
Oh my God!
Ooh, gets it away. There. Yeah.
But again, you don't want that Warp Prism losing HP, man. The shields are fine, but when you start to get it low like that, I mean, it's eventually going to get sniped down. And you can always count on robo units if they're getting lost, like we saw with those Immortals, like we could see with that Warp Prism. It generally becomes more problematic for Protoss in the late game. A good Protoss army usually has a good number of robo units, and usually one of the most important attacks in the game is when you see the Protoss has been building up those robo units.
Yeah.
Observers, Immortals, Warp Prisms, etc. If you see them lose that fight and lose all those robo units, you can kind of say the game is leaning towards Terran. Because Terran,
for sure, yeah.
Liberators, anything out of the barracks, even the starport, because you can pump that out at a steady pace. Even if you lose that, you can kind of come back with the same balanced army later on. With Protoss, it's a little bit trickier.
And look at that drop that we have to the top left. Bunny, I feel like he should have already gone for it, but I think he may want to push at the same time to maximize his damage. And yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing now. Going to move out on the map, try to distract Trap, get him to bring his units all the way out to the middle of the map, and then push into the third.
He's hunting down that Warp Prism. I think if he angles us right. Oh, wow, he gives up. Okay, well, he sees the push coming forward here. Now, with the Liberators out of position, that's actually pretty huge. I mean, Terran can lose a lot of fights if they don't have Liberators present there. Oh, but a drop over here. Now, there's only one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's two pylons here. So he is going to get his warp in no matter what. I didn't see that pylon initially in the upper right side of that third base.
SCV's pulled again, and a bunch of warpins coming in here, but it's not enough because this is two medevacs worth of drops. He needs one
more scan. He doesn't have a scan.
He doesn't have a scan, so he's forced back, but he did do a very nice amount of damage here.
Okay, this is actually a great move. If he just goes into the high ground there. Now, is Trap going to actually do this? I think he might be kind of insane if he does. But I'm talking about attacking into the bottom there.
He's feeling the pressure for sure. You know, you can see he wants to get the damage done here to Bunny, but now, it's not going to be easy.
This is the right play, I think, here from Trap. Now, one problem, though, is that he can't run away as easily from this bridge on the left, so there's going to be a full-on engagement here. Terrence, Simeon, and coming in. So many Liberators on in the air right now, and the Stalker count is getting lower and lower.
You can't. He blinked underneath the Liberators there, and he lost so many of his units.
Looks like one Immortal is going to escape, but I mean that's a scary thing, man. Meanwhile, drops are going on all over the place here. CJ team here on the edge of their seats. They know they're 1 win away. If Bunny can take this game, then CJ walks away with a huge upset. And dude, Trap is not minor.
Yeah, this is still not cleaned up.
This is becoming a disaster. Especially with Trap, once again, re-losing a lot of, especially Immortals, but Robo units back there.
Yeah.
Now, Bunny, by the way, does not have a 4th base, so he's about to be, like, really on low econ here.
I think he just attacks. You know, the Protoss army is so low at this point, only 52 supply.
Well, this Protoss army is clunky as well, so check this out. He's going to have a 6 setup.
Look at that. Really nice spread, too. Not easy to get under. It's above the Nexus.
And now, keep in mind, Terran does not get another base very easily here. So that's like a huge problem. He can keep Protoss, though, on 3 bases and then try to have like a scrappy game. Now, is Terran overextending here? Let's see. Maybe not enough Stalkers here. If he can take out that Archon on the low ground, and he does. Too much damage done here as he kites this army through the liberation zones.
Trapped down to 46 supply, and Bunny at 74, 15 minutes into this game. You were talking about a scrappy one. We're getting there.
Yeah, this is like getting, I mean, these guys are buying their units at the dollar store, guys. This is like really low econ.
There's an SCV in this battle.
Even like if you lose a Marine, you know, or an Adept, it's like actually a pretty big deal at this point in time.
Yeah.
I think Protoss may be able to do some damage with a counterattack here. Okay, he needs to get Liberators set up over here, and he needs to like hold this position, like his life defense on it. But it looks like Trap in this army that looks like it's some kind of early game PvP army is moving around the map. Okay, so we got more probes for Trap. It's 26 to 20. But the army is so small here that this one Liberator could actually really screw up this game. This
is going to deny so much mining here.
Now,
try to blink
realistically, he should actually just pick up and move here. In scrappy games like this, you really want to like. I mean, in fact, I don't even know if he should drop here. I think he might want to stay back. I don't know, man.
Well,
I don't know. This is a tough one.
It's rough because we can see the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Bunny could probably walk over there and just kill him. But he doesn't know that. You know, he took a bit of damage at his 3rd. It's
you ever
not
played
easy.
like a game where it's like you think that it's really even, and then they come out with a way bigger army, and you're like, oh, I must have miscalculated because there were like so many battles.
It's like
they
when,
might both be thinking that like they're not totally clear on where this game is, because it's hard to keep track of how many workers you're killing, because sometimes people don't remake them as fast.
Well, that scan is going to be money. He knows exactly what the Protoss army looks like now, and he's like, oh, I can easily kill that, and that's why he's just moving across the map.
Now, there's only 2 Liberators, so there's enough Stalkers that this is like actually a threat to the Liberators. If you had like 6 Liberators, I'd be like, go for it, man. He's starting to pursue. He's picking a fight. Any unit he shaves off is huge. Terran has a little bit more. If he flings the dexterity of the Terran's good, he can kind of pick his fights and kill off units here and there, and that's exactly what he's doing. If he gets that Archon, that's huge, by the way.
So low.
Now he's leapfrogging the Liberators here.
Oh, trying to poke it down.
There he got the Archon. That's pretty big. I don't know if he should pick up.
More and more reinforcements coming across the map, and yeah, I agree. I think he should just keep attacking.
Yeah, because I think if he can actually get over to the natural, I know it would look like probably better to get the. Oh my God, you are crazy, Bunny. Oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this. Okay, this is huge, but this is also going to be a forced engage here. I think this. Well, let's see. Hold on. He's blinking on top. Yeah, I don't think the Terran should have done that. However, there's a drop over here.
And one Archon is going to be able to stop it.
Well, he's still starting to just kill probes off bit by bit.
He sniped that medevac that actually had units in it.
Okay,
all the other medevacs didn't.
I think that might cost Bunny the game. Oh my God, no. Oh, Bunny. No!
Oh, but he's got an army now.
Okay, he's kiting. He's doing it. That Immortal's not firing shots.
Oh, this game is getting insane.
Bunny is microing harder than he has ever had to micro. He's actually, you saw those rallied Marines stimming and dancing. Okay,
he's going to be able to
This is like
get it.
one of those Dragon Ball Z battles where they're both shooting those beams at each other and one guy just wills his beam over the other. By the way, he floated the second base over here. Now, oh my God.
That's his mining right now.
Terran is having like a yard sale right now. He's like selling off his old Monopoly board that doesn't even have all the pieces on it because he needs that money.
We've seen this from time to time
all the lights are off in the Terran's base because that electricity bill might just be too much.
Oh, very smart by Bunny. He saves one scan. And
oh my God.
He scans. Uh-oh.
That might have been
okay.
No, he still got scans. It's okay.
Yeah. And he's got a third over here, but no units. DT's like, oh.
DT's like, do I go for it? Like, yeah, I can see. Now this is Trap being smart. He says, okay, if he's paying attention, he's gonna come down here. Okay, blinking away. These stalkers are becoming split up. Stim Marines and 2 Marauders in pursuit. GG! Oh man, that was a great game.
Wow,
that was
very
really
close. Right down to the wire.
Wow.
And Bunny, he takes a win. Goes up to 4 and 7, but more importantly, secures the win for CJ Entis.
Bunny with all 4 of his lucky rabbit's feet takes that game against Trap. Wow. That was actually a great game. I mean, we're talking like it is just down to like, you know, as many, you know, workers as I got fingers and toes here. And I got all of them in case you're wondering, guys. Yeah, but I mean, it was like so close. Every unit counted. They both played really well. I think a lot of the reason why Trap was, you know, having a hard time staying afloat there was because of some poor decision making to these big attacks with, you know, losing a lot of his robo units.
Yeah.
And Bunny just kind of staying on top. What a crazy upset. The #1 team right now in StarCraft 2 has just been slain.
Nobody could have expected that today. One nerd out there is like, no, I knew it. I had hope. I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
You did not.
Know.
Nobody knew.
And wow, I mean, you were talking about ill-fated attacks. SOS, he did it. And then the same thing there for Trap, where he's like, no, I think I can kill him. And then he fights under Liberators and he loses a big bulk of his army. And the other thing, actually, that Wolf actually tweeted, I was talking to him, is that Rogue has not beaten any other Protoss that is not Zest. He only beats Zest when he faces Protoss.
That's it.
He loses to everyone else.
Kind of funny, man.
The Zest Slayer.
Another 3-1 here. Kind of crazy, guys. Maru takes game 1, and it looks like it's just, you know, the beginning of a pattern we're going to see in the next 2 games. Hero, Biel, and Bunny. These were not easy games for any 3 of these guys.
Yeah.
Great teamwork by CJ. CJ, a team that was having actually quite a hard time here. And look at that, #3.
That is huge. Getting that win for CJ, who said it before, there's only one team really that can qualify for playoffs who is not SKT, Janair, and KT. I mean, final playoffs. So the other 4 teams are struggling to get that spot. And right now it looks like it's between CJ, Afrika, and MVP because Samsung is all the way down at the bottom.
Man, that was such a good game, guys. Definitely recommend that game. We had a lot of really cool games, and we don't always have that. Sometimes we have some very basic games. They're good if you want to learn. But I mean, some of these games are action-packed, crazy strats, back and forth ness. It was
back and
awesome.
forthness.
And I think are we going to the interview about this?
We are jumping in.